All right, ladies and jorms. Okay, time to get to the meat of the stream. Kendama has come a long way since we started competing. It is my belief that competition is the lifeblood of the Kendama scene. Without them, Kendama will slowly die out. I don't think we will make it as just an online trick-based community. We need events. We need some sort of established competition. We've come a long way, but I still think we have a long way to go. We started with just speed ladders, kind of janky, not really knowing what we're doing format-wise. We've evolved into open. New styles of competition have emerged with KWC, catch and flow. We've established a better way to freestyle. It started with just 7 to spike, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Double elimination is becoming a little bit more standard. Not as widespread as I'd like it to be, but it's a good step. The next step we need is legitimized rankings and legitimized standardized competition rule set and format. Look at every major sport, skateboarding, esports, tennis, NBA, whatever. The rules are clear. Every event has the same exact rules. Kendama needs to get there. Those same exact rules will also make it a lot easier to rank players. It's difficult to compare a win at a single elimination 8-man tourney to a double elimination 100-man tourney. If the rules are different, how do you compare one competition's value to another? There's old ways that Kendama players competed. The JKA. The JKA stands for the Japanese Kendama Association. Legitimized Kendama in Japan. It was a little too rigid. It was ran by a bunch of Japanese boomers who saw Kendama as a traditional art, which to an extent it is, but as you've seen, Kendama has evolved into much more of a freestyle expressive thing. So this is kind of what JKA competitions used to look like. They were extremely rigid movements. You had to hold it, like see how he kind of freezes at the end of it? And here, super still. It is a rule that you have to remain still for 3 seconds here. See how long he holds it? And then you may proceed with the trick. He also holds his ending like stance. He holds that for like 3 seconds as well. So Japanese Kendama Association, the JKA, they certified kendamas. They had their seal on the Azora, PK16, Shin Fuji, Shin Sakura, Mugen. They certified all these kendamas as tournament legal, basically. You could only compete with a JKA certified dama. So this was the first form of kendama legitimized competition. This was before Americans got their hands on kendama and introduced our wild, wacky, expressive freestyle way of playing the toy. And the JKA hated us. The JKA hated how Americans played kendama, which is actually even why the JKA had a big issue with Tomotsu and Gloken, because Tomotsu embraced this new form of kendama because it actually got kids excited about it. So Americans started running their own competitions. The Ken Garden, Jake Weens, hosted a lot of early competitions in the Ken Garden in San Francisco at his place. The first kind of way that we competed were in a thing called speed ladders. So how speed ladders worked, people lined up and there was a list of X amount of tricks and everyone started at once and you had to go through the trick. Say the trick was swing spike and then the next trick was like lighthouse trade spike and the next trick was like bird over the valley. You swung spike, reset, lighthouse, trade spike, reset, bird over the valley. Say you miss, you're still on bird over the valley. Usually it was like first 2 to win would advance to the next round, and eventually it would whittle down until it was just a one-on-one speed ladder. The issue with this competition, this format, there are a couple reasons, but two big ones. It's hard to judge if people are clean, and it's hard to judge who finished first. So that didn't last super long. It was also single limb, like if you get strung up, you just lose in speed ladders. Like GG, no re, like sorry, bro. Good luck basically adding a whole nother trick in the form of de-knotting your kendama in the middle of doing the rest of it. So that was the first like American style of competition here. And then we started introducing open division. which was very good. It was still single elim, but open division was the beginning of what you see now. More standard competition that you see at NACO, Battle at the Border, pretty much every major event. Freestyle wasn't really a thing for a long time. The first form of freestyle that you really saw was a format called 7 to Spike, invented by Dave Mateo. It was a good start to freestyle, but it is a dog shit way of competing. Absolutely terrible. There's a reason why we don't do this anymore. Again, this is a fun way to like just play kendama at like a jam if you're hosting a like community jam and want to give away a random prize. 7 Spike is fun. It's great. But as a form of legitimized competition, it is terrible. If we were doing rankings and we wanted to legitimize kendama as a sport, this rule set is so bad. You see one person is standing here. This person is called the king. You see Gavin starts doing some tricks. Okay, so he stopped and ended the trick because one of the rules of 7 to Spike is you get one try, and if you mess up, like you didn't do anything. This is even true if the dama hits the ground. It is also an auto. So he did his one trick, and so now the king has to do a trick that he thinks is better than the other one. And if he messes up, then it's like auto worst, right? And then they have some judges to decide which trick was better. If they thought Gavin's trick was better, Gavin will move to the king spot, and he will get 1 point. First to 7 points wins. The next person in line behind Gavin will come up and do what Gavin did and challenge Gavin, who is now the king. He missed. That's his one try. He missed a trick. Obviously, Gavin gets the point. It does take ages unless they're all acing. This is a very long form of competition. Misses. That was his one try. Obviously, Gavin's going to win. Already, I'm sure you'll be able to point out many, 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 many flaws with this style of competition. It takes forever, and there are only 7 people who compete. You had to get lucky to even like get a play 7 to Spike. If someone misses their trick, if someone goes for a spacewalk and like just misses, I can do an earth turn, and I objectively did a better trick than them because I did a trick. It's so rigged. If you get into the king spot, you can just hope that they miss 7 times in a row and do a bird 7 times in a row. Nobody ever played like that because nobody ever realized the insane flaw in this format. So it was the beginning. It's not to say that it didn't have its place because it was better than nothing, right? It caught on for a while. This was standard in a lot of competitions from like 2014 to 2016. So at this point in history, the top level of competition, like pro, open, and advanced, whatever, is always going to be open division. Pros are no longer doing speed ladders. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced are still sometimes doing speed ladders, which also, hot take, I think that's fine. I think AM and maybe advanced can be open. As harsh as it sounds, we're not ranking beginners and intermediate players anyways in like top whatever rankings of best players. If we have the resources at an event, then I do think we should give those beginners and intermediate players an opportunity to play an open division. However, if we have to choose between doing all open divisions, but it's single elim, or having AM and pro be double elim, and beginner, intermediate, and advanced being speed ladders, I think we should do the latter. Because we need to have legitimized competition for top level players in order to have legitimized rankings in order to grow the sport. Boo me all you want! Those players will still get better by competing and will eventually be good enough to enter AM and open, where there will be open style competition and not speed ladders. And we need to standardize AM and open to make rankings. You can't properly rank people, therefore you can't properly bring in sponsors, therefore you can't properly monetize a scene, therefore you can't properly grow the sport if you don't have standard rule sets. So we can't be wishy-washy on this event's single, this event's double, this event's single, this event's double. And we're not going to rank beginner, intermediate, and advanced players anyways. Now, which brings me to where we are at in Kendama competition history. So around 2014, 2015, 7 to Spike was a thing. The top level events were open division. Speed ladders were relegated to beginner, intermediate, advanced competitions. And Kendama was still growing very much, but everything was still single elim. And I made this post on September 17th, 2007 on the Facebook Kendama community. Kind of ugly to look at this wall of text, so I'll just read this for you. Alright, so I've been saying for over 2 years now that most forms of Kendama competition needs double elimination format, and I feel like I've never been heard, so I'm about to lay it down. First things first, for those who don't know what double elim is, we can skip this. Everyone knows how double elim works now. 2 brackets. If you lose, you get sent to the loser's bracket. You can still work your way to finals. The winner of the winner's bracket and the winner of the loser's bracket play each other in grand finals. If the loser wins, the bracket resets and they play another set. Everyone gets set now. I don't have to go over that paragraph. Let's talk about why I think it should be implemented in almost every open style competition. We all know how big of a factor luck plays in Kendama. Whether it's good luck or bad luck, it happens. The string could botch you, or you could botch a swap, sending Thomas spinning faster than you intended, and blam, somehow still landed on Spike. That's the good luck. So we all know luck is a little factor in Kendama. Yes, it's mostly skill, but we all know Kendama's like 5 to 10% luck. When it comes to open style competition, there's even more luck factors. The luck of the draw on the trick that you pull, the luck of what opponent you'll face next. I personally feel bad for the kid who enters his first competition just to be paired up with a Gallagher, Bonds, Bray, Stodd, or Lucas Funk. He was a god when I wrote this. Round 1. They'll probably end up losing to nerves alone, not even their skill, and they aren't given another chance. There goes their $50 entrance fee. Thanks for flying out here. See you next year. Double elimination also creates way more hype for the players and spectators alike. Imagine a favorite to win gets knocked out round 1, and then he runs through the loser's bracket to make a comeback and win it all. That would be amazing to watch, even if you don't know a lot about Kendama. And let's face it, if we want Dama to grow, we need spectators. We need to create storylines for people who don't even really play, but are just interested in the sport. And double elimination creates a lot more exciting storyline opportunities than single elimination does. As years goes on, competition organizers are going to make tricks harder and harder. To me, that's another reason to make it double. The harder the tricks, the bigger the chance there is for a bad pull or a tiny mistake costing you. Plus, like, come on, who doesn't want a second chance? I understand the cons of double elim, the most prevalent being the time it takes to run. The solution is simple, just make more time. Get if smaller events that are over in a day can't afford to do so, but larger events that take place over 3 days have more than enough time. When I wrote this, so MKO 2016, I said, last year's first day of MKO didn't start open division until about 6:30 p.m. If the bracket had started at 9:30 or 10 a.m., there would have been more than enough time, especially since day 1 was held at the hotel, so people just wake up and go compete. Honestly, I think 9:30 a.m. is a little early, but if I have to choose between no double elim and waking up early, I'd rather do double elim. Another possible counter argument is that it's harder to organize a double elimination bracket. That's just not true. Challenge and start.gg make the bracket for you. That was pretty much all I wrote on that. This is all resources and logistics planning, which are all possible. Offering more incentive to people who are judging, like discounts on entries and whatnot, because you do need more people to judge if you want to run more people at once, etc., etc., etc. Organizing schedule better, which is tough because schedule always runs behind, even if you try to plan for it early. It just always happens. It's about managing space, maybe having a more extended stage that goes to far left and right, taping off sections on the floor, and incentivizing more volunteers. And making it way more clear to people that double elim will only happen if there are more judges. Me personally, I think it matters enough that I would drop out of competing and judge if they needed more judges, if it meant that the competition would be double elim. I think the future of Kendama competition is more important than my dumbass getting 0-2'd. A little bit after, in January 2018, the first major event using double elim just went down. I asked to hear people's thoughts. People really enjoyed it. Jake Fisher was like, only negative was how long it took. Everything else was great. Everyone loved it. The only con is just how long it takes. When seeding becomes a more standard thing, my point about feeling bad for the kid who flew out and gets paired against Bonds or Nick round 1 is going to be even more of a thing. Because if you don't know, when a bracket is seeded, it means the players who are expected to win, rank 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the world, they are placed in the bracket in a way to where they are not expected to meet until much later in the bracket. This prevents silly things like two of the favorites to win the competition went against each other at MKO in a single elimination format, round 1, which is stupid. That should never happen. Tournament organizer, it's 100% a huge liability. I think the liability can get mitigated with preparation. If tournament organizers pushed pre-reg and just honestly just be hard asses about it. Oh, you didn't pre-register? Sorry, you can't enter. And people will learn. People are going to be really mad at the first couple, but they'll remember. If people pre-register, tournament organizers can be exactly prepared with how many people they can expect, and they can better manage schedules. Top players, it's negligible. I don't know if I agree with that. I guess for top players, it's like, yeah, whatever. But I think for the sport, it's an overall better format. So in the long run, top players should want it, because in the long run, it'll help top players legitimize their careers. Exactly. It is more difficult to seed if formats are inconsistent. I can do my best. It's not going to be perfect yet. It'll be more perfect if every tournament is the same format. Because again, seeding comes down to rankings, and it's more difficult to value the placement of it. For example, let's say we have 100 of the exact same players enter 2 competitions. Let's say the result and bracket of each competitions are nearly identical, but one is double elimination and one is single elimination. How would I value if one event is worth more weight when it comes to rankings than the other? It's pseudo possible, but it's going to be subjective. And we want to work towards a near, it's never going to be exactly objective, but a near objective way to rank and categorize competitions. It is my opinion that I think double elimination is a better format for a couple reasons. Mainly how luck-based Kendama is, mainly give new players a better shot to make the storyline more interesting, therefore grow spectators. And I want to be able to have people in who like watching Kendama and like know top players, but don't like really sesh that hard. And I think double elimination lends itself to be a more entertaining spectator sport. The trouble with it is if we ever want to do top player rankings, another variable when it becomes difficult to rank the value of a win is how hard were the tricks that year. Like say you have 2 identical brackets, but one tricks are like Sakura Classic level tricks. And one tricks are like Dama and the D level tricks, which are notoriously really hard. How much more valuable is the Dama and the D trick win? It comes down to like 2 players are in contention to be number 1 in the world, and one of them won a competition with the same amount of entrants as another one, but one of the competitions had harder tricks. Like, I mean, if it's the same, obviously the one with harder tricks, but what if the one with harder tricks had a little bit less entrants? It becomes so difficult and so arguable. What if there was a rotating list of about 250 to 300 tricks that any tournament organizer who wanted to throw a major event had to randomly pull tricks from that list to be their open tricks as often as necessary, whether it's every 6 months, every 4 months, every year, whatever. That rotating list is updated. That example that I just had of like dominant D tricks versus Sakura tricks make that difference a lot more negligible. It's just an idea that I think is worth discussing. Another reason why I think that would be kind of cool, it makes it way easier for just somebody in their local community who like wants to host a jam with like a mini game thing. It makes it way easier for them to just have tricks. Like it takes a lot of time to come up with and film a trick list for an event. But if the tournament organizers already had that, then they can just like host events left and right, create more of a scene, have like a local rankings, be like, oh, this person's the best in like New England because he wins all of our local jams that are super easy to throw. Some of you may be wondering like, okay, why can't we just play? Why can't we just play however we want? The end goal with standardizing a rule set is 1, every legitimate sport has a standardized rule set. And 2, having a standardized rule set would make it easier to rank players. Have an official 2023 rankings. What would that obtain? Well, say we had something like this for outside sponsors to see Zach Gallagher first at this event, first at this event, first at this event, first at this event. See their socials. Top sponsors like Red Bull could see that. Go to Zach Gallagher's Instagram. See that, oh, this person's the best in the world at this sport. Oh my god, this person has 23, almost 24,000 followers. Wow, this person has a lot of reach. Huh, how much views does these events get that 23,000 possible people turn into? That's crazy. Let's check that out. Oh wow, the finals of this event got 381,000 views. Oh, this person's the 5th best in the world. This person's the 3rd best in the world. How much followers do these guys have? It brings in more views, more sponsors, more monetization, which, third point, every single major competition needs to be live streamed. I shouldn't be streaming right now. I should be watching Sakura Classic live right now, but I can't because it's not live streamed. And guess what? Sponsors aren't going to want to sponsor something that they can't watch live. We're never going to have a big sponsor if they can't put an ad on a watch time, an event that reaches hundreds of thousands of people. God damn it, people, live stream your events. How is Sony going to slap an ad in the middle of an event that's not live streamed? God damn it. Because we need to have the opportunity for sponsors outside of Kendama to monetize it, make sure that the people in the community, like the players, the tournament organizers, the company owners, they need money to be able to do this. Which, guess what? Sweets can't do it this year. The 10th NACO, the 10th anniversary of NACO is going to be online because they can't afford to do it because there's not enough money in the scene. This is why we need standardized rule sets to create player rankings, to create a more incentives for sponsors to monetize the scene so we don't have to experience our 10th NACO online. And this is why I've been ranting, because this is important. This sucks. Sweets isn't happy about it. Nobody's happy about this. I made a point of not liking it because I don't like it. Chitty. And we need more money in the scene. And the way to do that is to standardize Kendama, to create player rankings, to get more eyes on the scene, to live stream every event. That is what I hope the future of Kendama is. Rankings, live streamed events, outside influence, and just more people being interested in it. At the end of the year, I have a firm goal. There will be 2023 rankings. You got to start somewhere. There will be 2023 player rankings by the end of this year. And I've been keeping an eye on all the brackets. I'm storing them away. Myself and other prominent members in the scene who I trust, I will be reaching out to when I have all those lists in place. And we will have a little committee to decide the final rankings. Have I talked enough? You guys sick of me yet? Long story short, started from the bottom, now we're here, and we still got a long-ass way to go. Still got a long-ass way to go.